just say that I know that we're talking about this because I see halos. So
Mm.
they're distinct from auras because auras change with the mood. Um, your aura can just change every 5 minutes or every hour. There may be a general sort of colour that seems to be more yours, but generally that changes. But what's really remarkable, um, and which you hardly hear anybody, I've never heard anybody speaking about it, is halos. That we have these halos above our heads that are absolutely outstanding. So I didn't know. So do you want to ask me about that?
Yeah, I'd heard Brian talk about these halos, and he showed me the beautiful
Brian
drawings that you did
Longhurst.
of
Brian Longhurst.
Brian Longhurst,
Yeah.
um, of his halo and his partner Teresa's, and they were so beautiful. Um, I was hoping you could share with me and anyone who watches this video what their halos are and how that's different from an aura and
Yeah.
what it really means.
Well, what happened was that I was at a gig, and I was watching this band. This is years ago. Oh, wow, it must be over 20 years ago. So I was watching this gig. It was an absolutely amazing gig. It was sort of like world music with kind of jazz fusion, and so the musicians they were all like virtuosos in their own right. They were absolutely incredible.
Right.
And so I'm watching the lead guitarist at one point, and as I'm watching him, I see, I can see above his head this amazing, I can only describe as a light show. But it was above just his head, and there was like coloured lights coming out like rays, and shapes and colours. And the more I looked at it, I just thought it was absolutely outstanding. And then I looked at the lights, the stage lights, and all I could see were plain lights, that would be pink or green or blue. I couldn't see anything that was causing it. So I turned to my, friend, and I said, how are they doing that? I mean, look at that. And I described what I could see, and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't see that. You're talking about the coloured lights. And I went, no, 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 no. What about these shapes and these rays? And so he said, no, no. He said, I can't see anything. And then I turned to my other friend, and he said he couldn't see anything either. So then I noticed it was happening more. I was more able to see it when the person was in their zone. I don't know if you've seen the film Soul, but
Ah.
people, particularly artists, musicians, and I've had it too, is they can be doing something. I'm sure you've had it. Everybody has it, where you're just suddenly in the zone.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
in that Disney film Soul, there's quite a lot about people being in their zone, and it's really well depicted and described. Anyway, when they were in there, so that was the guitarist, and then the violinist. Then he had his solo, and I suddenly saw that he also had something above his head, but when he was in his zone and he was doing his lead bit, it got brighter and brighter, and it was more easy to see. You see. So, and then I
Mm.
started to notice that other people in this band, had it going on. And nobody I talked to could see it. They didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh wow.
So I thought, well, I know I'm not mad and I don't see things in that way.
Mm.
So I wondered what it was. And, so I kind of looked at a few people that were sort of just walking around to see if everybody had these, and I could see slight colours, but not as strongly as when those people were actually in their zone. Um, so anyway, so I spent some time looking at other people. I started to realise that I could see these, what I call your spiritual headdresses, and
I
but
like
then,
that.
yeah, then I didn't like go. I didn't sort of do interject. If you want to ask me anything, I do ask, but I'm just trying to sort of think back really, because you see, then I kind of dropped it for a while because I thought, well, you know, I must be bonkers. I must be
Mm.
mad. you know, and also it was quite hard work because I had to spend ages staring at someone, and then I'd see a little bit here, or you know, a shape here or a shape there, and it took me ages so that I could visually see the whole picture.
Mm.
So, but then I went back to it because what happened was I was sitting somewhere at another gig, but this time I was playing because I'm a musician, and it was hard work. This gig, I mean, great fun, but we were playing a lot of stuff. And in the break, this woman came over to me, and she just did not stop talking, and all I wanted to do was just eat my food in a quiet moment, and wow, 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 and she was showing off a lot and talking about everything unasked, everything she'd done, and it was sort of quite boastful, and it was difficult, you know. And
Right.
I just wanted her to go away, and the more that I wanted her to go away, the more she liked me. Like, what I mean is, she said things like, "Oh, you must meet me and my husband, and you must come out," and I just thought, "Do you go away?" Anyway, later on, we were on a stage, and I was playing music, and she, like everybody else, was sort of bopping and dancing. And my first thought was unkind. Oh, there's that annoying woman. And then suddenly I saw her halo. I saw this thing above her head like I had with, and I thought, oh my God, that's utterly beautiful. And then I started looking at other people, and I found that every time I looked at people, particularly if they were like difficult or annoying, I, all that judgment just dropped away the moment I saw their halo, and then all I
Wow.
wanted to do was just look at people's halos. So what's happened since then? And I promised to let you speak. I'll just get to the end of this.
No, keep going.
Well, what happened was that then I really went into it, and so I'd have somebody come round, you know, uh, and I'd put like a kind of black board behind their head, like they'd be probably sitting on this sofa and have a black thing up here behind their head because it's easier for me to see against the dark background.
Right.
Or it was then anyway. And I just say, look, you just relax, and you know they could read, they could even watch TV. You know, first I was terribly precious and thought, oh, they must meditate, but that's not true at all. Because that's, you know, the
Sure.
thing is, it's there all the time, whether you're meditating or eating sausages or whatever you're doing, you know,
Right, right.
it's there. So, you know, so
Uh-huh.
they could just do whatever they want. And I just stare basically at the top of the head in a very relaxed way with my iPad and my Apple Pencil, and just using various apps, because there isn't just one app that can do it, because in order to get the colors and the illuminated light feel of it, I have to swap about using different apps. So what I do is I take a photo of them while they're sat there, and then put it on, and then bring it into the art app, and then start to work the colours and shapes that I could see around it. So I'm looking at them all the time. Above the head, I'm looking at them. And the more that I'm looking at them, because you see, this thing's infinite. It's not just like a little thing like you see in a picture, a little round thing that angels
Right.
have on. It's massive and it goes out infinitely. So in a basically an A4 frame kind of thing, I have to try and depict as much as I can see. So you know, I have to be completely empty. So it's very nice for me. It's definitely a chance to be completely, deeply empty. And then it's shown to me, it's revealed to me bit by bit until I've got a whole picture of it, you see. And at first, well, most of the time I thought I could only do it when a person is live with me. But somebody said, could I do it from a photograph? Because they lived on the other side of the world. And I said, no, I didn't think that was possible because I need to be able to see the life force. But it was just
Right.
brought to me in a different way. I was able to do it. Um, and I have been able to do it. It's easier to do it either live or from a photograph, but it's not easy for me to do it like this on Zoom or Skype because it
Right.
requires yeah, it requires the person to have to sit in front of a computer screen for a very long time, which isn't good for,
Right.
or for me, it's not good for either of us. And
Sure.
you know, because it can take me over an hour and a half to really get it right, you know. And
Hmm.
yeah, and so that's what I do, you know, and I have or I haven't yet. I think I will have. I should have. I'm just lazy about it. A page on my website about it, you know, so people can, you know, send me a photo or book a live session, you know, if they live in England. But the thing is,
Mm.
what do you want to ask anything?
Well, I was going to ask one
Yeah.
thing. It was just, have you found anyone else that has talked about this in a similar way, or just anyone that you could talk to about it who understands and also sees it?
I have not found anyone, and this is why it's a great idea to make this video, because I am talking specifically about halos and not auras.
Yeah.
So I researched the internet. I went onto loads of sites and I put in things like halo gazing, halos. Does anybody see halos? What are halos? You know, everything. And I finally came upon one site, which was a great site about all sorts of things. And there was a two-sentence thing, and it said, but the one thing that nobody, no human being, no living mortal can see is another person's halo. It's not
Oh.
possible unless you're from some other dimension. Um, and I that was it. So
Does that mean you're from another dimension?
well, aren't we all? You know, I'm
Well,
nobody
hey, yeah, that's
special. We
true.
we all are, you know. So, but you know,
Sure.
so I thought, well, and that's pretty lonely for me because I've no one to learn from. So I wrote to the
Yeah.
who'd written the article. I wrote to him, and I said, well, I can see them, and if I can see them, then and I'm just an ordinary human being, so everybody, you know, probably could see them.
Sure.
And he just sort of wrote a very short thing and just sort of said, well, I have no expertise in this area, I don't know anything about it. So then what that was good, because it made me go very, very deeply into spirit. And I asked spirit, I said, well, you're showing me these things, so can
Hmm.
you help me to understand more? For instance, you know, there are certain shapes. There's one that's like you can't probably see on it's like a diamond shape.
Hmm.
Um, and they're often to do with teachers of some kind. And then I thought that was interesting because when people graduate, they wear a diamond shaped thing that I don't know what it's called over there.
Yeah, true.
A mortarboard it's called actually, and
Yeah.
and that is the shape that a teacher wears. It's that diamond shape, although it's horizontal, whereas I see it vertical. And
Right.
then something that I see very, very rarely, because it would mostly be in an enlightened being, is where you see a full circle. And it's
Uh-huh.
interesting that it would be that. So they said to me that they were teaching me bit by bit more about what the different shapes meant. And I asked them, I said, well, why can't you just tell me the whole thing now? Why can't you just tell me what every shape means and what I'm going to see? And then they said quite
Sure.
rightly that if we they said, look, if we tell you every shape that that you are likely to see, then you may be influenced by that, and you sorry,
Hmm.
you may be
That's
influenced
okay.
by that, and um, you know, then you could be portraying something that's not come from your very, very still state of mind. We don't want to put ideas into your head, but you can ask questions after the event. So you've seen something and then you can ask us, you know. And,
Right.
and I understand the way that spirit teaches. It's so subtle, you know, and
Sure.
so that everybody that comes to me is completely fresh, you know. Um,
Mm. Yeah.
uh, and it's fascinating, but all I want to do all the time now is literally when I meet people is just look above their heads. So instead of looking in their eyes, I just want to look above their heads because it makes me fall in love with everybody, no matter what they're
Right.
like. everything just softens and fall away. All your judgments fall away because I can see the soul of the person, and it's beautiful.
Mm.
And if you, for instance, let's say there's somebody behaving, in a violent way or really, really badly, and the first thing, as a mere mortal, is that, yeah, we do have a judgment. I mean, yes, in hindsight, I have my most huge compassion is for people in a way that do wrong, because I know how highly and how deeply unconscious they are. If they were conscious, they wouldn't be doing what they were doing. So I have great compassion for those that are as much for them as the ones that are the victims.
Yeah, right.
However, in the moment, if you see somebody doing something horrible, or God forbid, something horrible to an animal, which you can't bear, or something like that, immediately anger arises, or upset. What can I do in that moment? But then, if I've looked, and I've seen people doing mean things, and I look above their heads. There's something so much more beautiful about them that they can't even see, and that's the saddest thing. That gives me even more compassion. They can't see the treasure that they are. So
Mm.
the thing is, I would love to. What I want to do is just. So I'm hoping that I will write a book. I'll never say I will write a book, but I'm hoping I will write a book. This is my plan, to write a book about halo gazing, because I'd love everybody to learn to do it. Because really, I think it just
Mm.
takes faith and great patience, and a desire, the passion, you know, to want to see what somebody's soul really looks like.
How beautiful. What a gift too, right? I mean, it's so beautiful that you're able to see that and then share it with people. Like, immediately when I first saw your drawings, I thought of people like you're saying that might be walking around with whatever issues, and they might even hate themselves, they might have a lot of guilt or a lot of resentment about something. If they were able to see that, just how powerful that would be, if they knew how beautiful they really were. I think it's such a gift, Mandy, and I'm happy to hear you're going to share it with people. It's great.
Well, it helped me. I mean, it was hard for me to see my own, because how do I do that? The only way I could do it was, I've got these like glass French windows in my living room. So when it was dark one night, so it was all black, then I could see my own reflection, and so I just sat for ages. It took me ages to see my own one, and just like everybody's is magnificent. There's nobody's more magnificent than anybody else's. That there just isn't. It's a real great leveler. Everybody is
Sure.
equally, amazingly, fantastically, awesomely, incredibly beautiful, talented, skilled, and amazing. So yeah, so mine was great too. So anyway, this is how
Mm.
it was really useful. This is the use of them. If you know what you really look like, and you have a picture, because what I do is I send people, the email with the picture on, and they can print it out or have it on their screen. In fact, it's great to look at it on the screen because you've got light behind it, you see, which is how I see it. Anyway,
True.
if you know that you look like that, and you've got a representation, you've got a picture of it, first of all, every time that you're tempted to condemn yourself, judge yourself, put yourself down, you know that you're going against God, or whatever you conceive it to be. You're going against love. That's what you're going against, because
Mm.
you are made of love, and this thing shows it. But the other thing is, it was so practical once, because I was sort of, I had, I've had arthritis and hip operations. Anyway, I'm in the swimming pool one day, and I'm getting out of the swimming pool, and I'm really in pain, and I'm crouched over, and I'm finding it hard, and I can see
Mm.
the lifeguard on the opposite side. I could see her stand up in her chair, about to think, oh, this woman needs assistance, and she's going to come over. And then I remembered my halo. I remembered, hang on, Mandy, just think, who are you really? Remember what that looks like. And I remembered that grand, majestic halo, and it made me stand up like some phoenix, like a queen, stand up and take my full power in my hands and get out of there and climb up and get out. And then I saw the lifeguard just sit down again, as if to say, "Oh, she's all right." You know, I mean, it made
Oh,
that much of a difference. And if I can't, in all honesty to myself, put myself down like I used to or anything, or believe those judgments, because I know who I am. And
right.
everybody has this absolutely peaceful, their original nature is not only peace, but peace looks a certain way. It shines brightly and it has
Mm,
a unique shape that is yours. I mean, I've seen shapes that look like oceans, I've seen crosses, I've seen circles, I've seen things within things that show a multiplicity of talents and stuff, and there's all this stuff.
wow.
And when I've looked at people who are suffering from depression, theirs are beautiful too, but the light's a little bit dimmer because they're not looking at it. So somebody who's
Right.
very depressed is refusing. They don't know. I mean, nobody knows. When you're depressed, you can't help it,
Mm,
but you are in a state, which is what makes you depressed. You are in a state of refusing to see who you truly are. And
mm,
you're locked into that. It doesn't feel conscious because obviously you would think, well, you know, I don't want to feel like this. I don't, of course, you don't want to feel like this. But if you could see your halo, if you could see what you're made of, that's a start. It's proof of who you are, so it's a magnificent thing, and that's why I'd like other people to be able to learn how to do it as well. There's not much to teach. It just takes, as I said before, the desire to see it and to be very empty, because otherwise you're forcing it. You're making something there that isn't there. There has to be a bit of fantasy and imagination, because you can't actually depict it's too amazing, what I'm seeing, particularly when I'm doing the photographs. I'm told to depict it like that. It's more like I'm given guidance, and I think, how am I going to do that? um,
sure.
Somehow it's a bit easier. It's easier for me when the person's there live, you
Right.
know. Yeah, but I can definitely do it from photographs. It just has to be a photograph like you sent me, where just exactly how you look now, where there's a bit of space above your head so that there's a place for you.
Right.
Because if the head takes the full photograph, there's nowhere for me to draw in the what I can see. But exactly like how you look now is the same, is the way that you would send a photograph. And yours was absolutely amazing. I mean, they all are, and every time, I mean, I don't know if I could, if I showed you some, but,
Yeah, please do.
but I don't
That
know
would
if
be
it'll
interesting.
show. I don't know if it'll show up on the.
Well, if they don't work show well, we can always paste them into a video later.
Right. Well,
You could send them to me later.
I will send them to you. I'll do that anyway, Jane. Thank you so much. And Jay, thank you so much for asking me about it, because if nobody asks, how will the world know that they even exist? So you
Yeah,
do
that's right.
a great service by.
Well, hey, after I saw those and then you drew mine, how could I not talk to you about this?
Now, these people, by the way, have given me permission to let their
Okay.
halos be seen. Now, this, let me see. Can you
Yeah,
see that?
just come back slightly.
Back this way?
Yeah, there we go. Just focused.
Has it?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. Like
Well,
angel wings.
that was the first one I ever did. Now, that shape that goes up like that into that sort of top cone shape,
Yeah.
when the woman saw that, it's so much more beautiful than you see, because you can't really see the depths of the colours here. But I'll send you. She was amazed. She was absolutely amazed. She said, "Oh, you've got to come to my house because I've got to show you this painting." She had this painting on the wall that just looked like that. That
Really?
she said it was something from an ancient Mayan culture thing, and she'd fallen in love with it. She'd resonated with it. She'd had it in every main room that she ever lived in. You know what I mean? She always had it in her sitting room, whatever house she lived in, and it meant so much to her. And when she saw that shape, she just couldn't believe it. That,
Wow, that's
that
cool.
it was almost like maybe she was a reincarnation, and I don't know about these things, but um,
Sure.
and I'm not a good artist, and my art is very childish, but it's the best way I can depict it. And this is we talked about Brian Longhurst, who's an amazing writer and who you've interviewed before. Now you can't really see that too clearly, can you? Because it's some of them are
That's okay.
yeah, but I mean, I'll just show one more that might just um uh yeah. Now this is an incredible lady.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, you see, she's got a few shapes because she's a
Yeah.
teacher and she's a very special lady. And yeah, anyway, they're amazing, and I never know what they're going to look like. So then I researched out of interest. Very ancient, elaborate headdresses, like like American Indian headdresses, where they come,
Right.
and Roman things, and a lot of these really elaborate headdresses from different countries all over the world do start the way that I see them, with these rays coming out. First of all, there's the rays, and then there's these shapes come out. And I feel that these very, very creative people who have designed these incredible headdresses, somehow on some level, even though they don't know it, they are somehow picking up
Hmm.
the sorry,
That's
oh,
okay.
everything's everything's ringing. Yeah, they're picking up somehow on some level all these elaborate, headdresses that we are wearing all the time.
It
Everybody's
must
going
be
out with these things. Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
You know, the only place I've ever seen anything like that before is in some like biblical paintings where you see pictures of Jesus or Mary and they have those beautiful beams of light coming out from their head. That's what it reminds me of a lot. So, yeah, I wonder if maybe some of those artists were starting to pick that up, if they were, able to sense that, or I don't know.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think they would have been able to. I mean, people in those times that depicted things from so long ago, there weren't all this, like iPhones and all this kind of electrical energy and mobile
Yeah,
phones and everything around them. And things were pure. Things didn't get in the way so much.
yeah,
And
that's true, isn't it? I think we were
yeah,
more sensitive to nature and to reality a little bit more then. We weren't as distracted.
that's it. That's it. I mean, we are light forms. I mean, I see things even around. I see light around everything before I see the thing. I see light even around toilet rolls. I mean, there's nothing like I see light strands. Sometimes I just love to play with the light strands that come. I've always been able to to, to do that. Sometimes long purple like lasers. So sometimes at night in the dark, if I'll just kind of, you know, sort of play with them and we've all got this
Wow,
stuff. Um, I think that being able to see things is about, we talk about having the middle eye, the third eye open, but really
sure.
it's if there's a part of you that you can home into that is just the awareness that is prior to your thinking. So just before you have a thought, there's a gap, isn't there? There's this, it's
Mm,
in the gap or the now, or whatever you want to call it. The more that you live that way in the gap, or in the gaps, your ability to see stuff like this um, is strengthened, because everything is an idea, everything. So whatever object, however mundane, a stone, a shoe, never mind just flowers, my goodness, and things like that. But even things that seem inanimate, they all actually have this light before them. You can see the idea before the actual object. It's hard for me to describe because I actually see them both at the same time, but I would say that I see the light a split second, much more, a millionth of a second more than I see the object. So
Oh, right.
therefore, I think this is an extension of the same thing, that I'm seeing the idea of the person, the light. Like I'm looking at you now because we've been talking for a while, and oh my goodness, I can see those rays again coming
Right.
out. And particularly when we're talking about stuff like this, it it
Mm.
it brings it right into the foreground. Yeah. We can have more conversations like this because it's actually a massive subject.
It
So
is,
I
isn't it?
have to go out soon.
That's okay. We can talk about it again.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be asked about it. Um, so thank you
Thanks
very
for explaining it to everyone.
much.
And with your permission, I'd love to share some of these photos, um,
I'll send you.
and then obviously, once you've got that up on your website, if you are going to be offering it to people, they might want to check it out.
Well, thank you very much. It will. My website is called healingbyrevealingsoul.com, and people can go on there and email me anyway from there. Well, even if it's not up yet, you can email me from there because there's
Cool.
they can do that. Yeah. So thank you very much indeed. It's
My
been
pleasure. It's lovely to see you.